Big Chocky, welcome.
Thank you for having
welcome
me, brother.
to the Bold and Bearded podcast. My first guest. So, man, I just want to say firstly how appreciative I am that you came on as my first guest.
Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah, no,
The stars aligned.
Yes.
I was in town. It's worked out well.
I know, I can't believe how that worked out. Like, I literally reached out to you like a week ago.
Yeah.
Was it even a week ago?
About a week.
I appreciate that you've come on, man, because look, it's hard to start a podcast, but when people do it, and they invite people on, it's usually not, like, in my opinion, the biggest guy in the field. So I'm very grateful.
I'm humbled that you think that. I don't like to consider myself the biggest in the field, but a big fish at the moment, which is, it's an interesting position to be in, to say the least. But,
yeah.
Man, I think a big reason why I did accept the offer for yours, it being a launch, people helped me when I started, man. So I've always been taught by my mentors, especially, like, the gift of giving. There's nothing better, Give back, help others.
I've noticed that in you over the last few days that we've been chatting.
Yep.
I've spoken to you about it off camera as well, and I don't want to make you uncomfortable, but I'm going to say it here for everyone to hear it. The level of humility that comes out from you is something that people would generally not expect of people with a following like yours.
Yep.
So again, appreciate it. But I just want to kick right off. I want to get to know, I've watched a couple of podcasts of you.
Yep.
About 1.5.
Yep.
I purposely didn't watch the rest because I don't want to know enough about you where I come in and I'm just like faking it. I want to learn about you.
Yep.
So you start wherever you want to start off. From your personal life, who is Chocky? Who's Chris?
Man, where to begin? I'll give you the quick run over, right? So adopted from Colombia at 2 months old into a Greek family. Greek Cypriot family, and my pupple came here back in the 40s, I believe, maybe even earlier. And man, I love everything, and I always have loved everything about this country, right? So it's interesting. Somehow me being adopted turns into you're not Australian, you don't belong here, rah, 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 rah. But it's funny because this is all I know. I live and breathe this, right? But coming back to who I am as an individual, man, that's where life began. Grew up in the North Shore of Sydney. Many people will say that I was silver spoon fed, but if you do a quick Google search on my dad, you'll see that 3 police raids later, it's not so silver spoon in the North Shore of Sydney. Now, your eyes raised, so you haven't seen this side of me.
No, I haven't.
Dad is one of the leading medical cannabis advocates in Australia.
Really?
Always has been, and he always will be. Many people will argue this, but he was the first to get an industrial license to grow. He was the first to get a medicinal license to grow. Mm-hmm. They took those away from him when a change of government came. But because he saw so much positive impact, especially on young children that he was treating, he continued to do what he did. So for me, my first look into crime, or the other side of life, we'll call it, was my own father getting raided. Wow. And he's very proud of this, you see, because he knew in his core that he was doing the right thing, irrespective of the law. So that for me, it's funny, man. Like, North Shore of Sydney people are like, oh, you had everything on a silver platter. No, I didn't, man. Like, no way I did. Dad was in and out of remand, looking at life jail, so on and so forth. And so that was it's an interesting time, man, especially being adopted as well. You deal with all these new emotions, like your dad's chasing something that he knows is correct, is right, but he's not really there for you much of the time.
How old were you when this happened?
First raid was when I was 8 years old.
Wow.
Second raid, I would have been, there was one in between. I can't remember how old I was there. That was only a little one. And the last big one, I believe I was 16 or 17, and he was facing life.
And when you say raid, they had a warrant.
Kick in the door.
They kicked the door down.
No, not quite. Right. So the first one, 8 years old, it was at our farm up on the Hunter Valley at the time, or the Hunter region, we'll call it. I remember, man, I was sitting there. Dad was out in the paddock somewhere in the greenhouse. I was playing Nintendo 64 with my mate. I heard cars coming down the driveway, because on farms, bro, you hear cars, boom. And I hear one, hear two. Thinking, oh, mum doesn't come in more than one car. 3, 4, 5, 6. 11 cars pulled up to the fence, man. I remember coming out of the house and there was a big copper. To me, he was like a giant because I was only 8 years old. Big, bald, gun out, suit, so drug squad. saw me,
Bit
put
like
the
me.
gun away, and he goes, "Where's your dad?" And I was like, "Oh, Dad's over here," having no idea what went on. And then so that was the first one.
You
man.
were in the house. They
I was in
knocked
the
on
house. No. So I came out because you hear all the cars. You hear all the cars pull up. I came out of the house, and like I said, gun was drawn. Blah blah blah. They put it all away and arrested Dad, and Mum had to come and pick me up from I think it was Maitland Police Station. 2 hours later, she was in a fabulous mood, as you could imagine, picking up two 8-year-olds from a cop shop after your husband gets raided. Wow. But man, it's interesting for me. I believe that I have become this individual because of my father. Now, people will question that because people that know my dad, we have very differing views on some political issues, right? A-okay.
Right.
But he has taught me that no matter what the general consensus is, no matter what the law says, given that you're doing it for the greater good, speak your truth. Mm-hmm. Man, I've watched that firsthand. I've watched him be prepared to throw his whole life away in jail to help sick children.
Wow.
You know?
Was he prepared, or did he even have any idea of what was going on?
Yeah.
Why did they raid him?
Brother, it's illegal. It's illegal. It's as
What's
simple as that.
illegal?
Well, growing cannabis
Is illegal.
is illegal.
But he was doing it for medicinal purposes. It was all.
Yep,
Was it
but
approved
They took the license away. He continued to do it.
with his knowledge or without his knowledge?
With his knowledge. Yeah, so it was his way of saying, I don't care what you say.
Right. I'm helping children.
I'm helping children. I'm going to carry on.
Sure.
The last time he got raided, and I'll add this in just a quick little yarn. Last time he got raided, man, funnily enough, he actually pretty well did it on purpose. So he had a 60 Minutes crew come through our house, and he showed them his little secret room in the house, literally guided them up the stairs, turn left, through the door, open the wardrobe, and in this little room, here's my grow room, and here's how I do it. And he did it on purpose.
Wow.
Very interesting, right? And people are like, no, he didn't. Go and talk to him yourself. He did. And the reason why he did it on purpose, although he faced life in jail for it, because he got charged with commercial cultivate, commercial supply, some other charges, proceeds of crime, the whole lot, right? Faced life in jail. Not guilty due to medical necessity, which means that he was found not guilty by a jury because what he was doing was actually saving lives.
And they believed him. I mean, like, did he get the opportunity to?
Yeah, so he in the full trial, he said
yeah.
his whole piece. He had patients come in, and the jury of 12 found him not guilty on medical necessity. So he did this on purpose to then set a precedent within the court system that if you need it, you're going to get it.
And how long ago did this happen?
16. I was 16, so it would have been 14 years ago.
And he's still doing it today?
Not on the scale anymore.
Right.
He's sort of letting, obviously now it's far more legal. You can get it legally prescribed, so on and so forth. But coming back to who I am and why this is part of my story, I watched a man literally be prepared to lose everything for what he believed to be correct. And he saw it work, man.
Would he talk to you about that? About
during the time?
During the time?
Yeah. Yeah, dude.
About standing true for what you
100%, man. 100%. And it's funny, like he'd never hide any of it. So one day I remember coming home from school. Another side quest story. I came home from school and there was 10 kilos of pot hanging in my garage drying out. And I'm like, oh my Lord, what is going on, you know? Yeah. But then Dad, like I'd asked Dad, I said, what are you doing? Because I obviously knew the illegal or the legal implications of this.
Sure.
And he said, well, you remember that child that you saw that's in a wheelchair and has no quality of life? He goes, we're gonna help. And then in 2 months' time, man, that child that was in a wheelchair that had no quality of life would walk into my house and talk because things were changing.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. But at the same time, although I found it very honourable what he did, I ran into issues of my own experiencing what my family was going through at the time. So obviously heaps of turmoil, and me being adopted at the age of 16, you run into the issues of who am I? I don't belong here. Who are these people? They're not my parents. What's going on?
That was at 16 is when you
As
started
well.
to have...
Yeah, so that's when I sort of really...
Did you know that you were adopted before, the whole time?
Parents always told me from young. So yeah, I didn't quite fall off the rails. I fell into the wrong crowd for sure, drinking at a young age, crashing parties. Just, we were known as that crowd that were the undesirables, we'll call them, on the North Shore. And
Your
again,
family was, is that what you're saying?
No. My friend group.
Your
at the
friend
time.
group, sorry.
The family was fine. Like Dad comes from a family; they're all doctors and professors. You know.
Okay. Yeah.
Dad was the black sheep, or the goat. In fact, he likes to call himself, to be honest, and not from greatest of all time. He just thinks he's the goat. Like,
Yeah.
So yeah, man. And coming back to the whole North Shore thing, we by the age of maybe 22, we've buried over 10 friends. So people want to say that the North Shore is, silver spoons and sunshine and rainbows. It's no different to other suburbs around Sydney. It's just quieter.
Yep.
Because they don't want the suburb to lose its value. They don't want to tell these stories on the news.
Sure.
And we had a young kid stabbed to death at a party when he was 14, 15.
Wow.
And these things happen, right?
You're right. You don't hear.
You never hear about it. You don't hear about it. Man, there was a massive fight at, funnily enough, St Ives Skate Park, right? Everyone knows St Ives. This is such a great suburb.
Yeah.
There was a multi-stabbing fight, people getting bottled and everything. But
Wow.
that one did make the news for 24 hours. Then it was disappeared.
And was that your group of? No, I'm not saying the stabbing was.
That
but
was
we were around that scene.
It was around the scene. Like
Right.
we knew who was all involved.
Yeah.
We knew it all. And it's funny, man. Like as kids do, we always fought. Man. But at the time, the cops then, very different now. You didn't get charged. You didn't get thrown in jail straight away. Like you're a kid.
Yep.
Gave you a whack on the back of the
Yeah,
head.
sure.
Grow up. Wake up to yourself. But I will say it definitely threw me off a good trajectory. I went to a great school. I ended up leaving that school because I just had a problem with authority, ended up at a public school. And man, I've said this all before, and it's interesting. It seems to be like resurfacing online at the moment. And it's quite funny because I think you guys are repeating things that I've said about myself and trying to use it against me. But I mean, the alcohol didn't stop, got into the drugs, and nothing too heavy, but it was just heavy use because you're trying to run from who you think you are. You don't know who you are. You're full of shame. Being adopted, man, you look at your parents, you're like, who are you? Who am I? Like I said before. And then I got into the construction life. And as you know, you deal with plenty of tradies.
Yeah.
Construction is very volatile, super volatile, man. Like people are addicts to something or they just hate their job, but they're stuck. And I loved cranes. I was in mobile cranes and tower cranes. Absolutely loved it, man.
Tower cranes.
At the end, at the very end.
Yeah.
I only dogged the tower cranes, but I operated mobiles. Loved it, right? But I had this wake-up call where I pretty well missed my youngest son's first whole year of life. I was on a job doing 90-hour weeks every week for nearly a year.
90-hour weeks.
Yeah, Monday to Sunday.
Jeez.
Great coin, but I missed his whole first year of life.
Wow.
And I remember coming home one day, man, and my missus, like I could just tell she wasn't doing well.
Does she get family support or anything like that?
They were all out of Sydney. And I'd never see my kids.
Yeah.
I just thought, man, I can't do this forever. So that's when I started the Instagram up. I was already a qualified personal trainer throughout all this time. I just never really did it. So I started initially just talking out about trying to be a good, positive role model for other men, boys, anyone, because the way I look at it and I look back to my upbringing, it's been a long story telling it. I look back to my upbringing and we didn't have a positive role model, man. Whether it be on the streets or like my home, like Dad was a great positive role model in one aspect, but in the aspect that I needed at the time, he wasn't, right? So that's what I tried to be on social media.
What are you referring to there? Just
in positive role model. So like if we were out going for a party or something and someone wanted to start a fight, we never really had those people to grab you by the ear and say, you don't need to do this.
Right.
Or like even drugs underage. No one there to smack you over the back of the head and say, you don't need to do this. Or go try it, but be wary.
And without throwing your dad under the bus, just out of curiosity, was that because he was working and he wasn't around as much there, or
100%.
was it because you were hiding a lot from them?
To be honest, man, I think it's both. I think it's a multifaceted issue there for sure. I think I didn't know how to express how I felt around the whole belonging issue. And also, obviously, Mum and Dad are so caught up in Dad's court cases and everything going on. It was almost like the perfect storm, man. Like it was so easy to slip through the cracks.
Yep.
And our house sort of became the party house. So I feel as though my mum, God bless her, she's a beautiful soul. She allowed us to have all these parties because she may have felt bad for me while I was experienced with Dad. But what she didn't realize is it was me just allowing myself to go the wrong way.
Were you drinking,
Oh.
smoking, everything in that? Yeah.
You name it.
She was home?
Yeah.
Okay.
But see,
What a cool mum.
funnily enough, we say this now. Funnily enough, right? Dad said, I'd prefer you all to do it in my backyard than be at a park in the middle of nowhere
Yep.
and something go wrong.
Yep.
And then what?
Yeah.
You know, because you always hear those horror stories, and it was around a time there was a big fight near our place where someone did get stabbed. He's like, if you're going to do it, just do it in my backyard. He goes, I'm not happy about it. He goes, but I know you're going to do it. I'm not going to stop you doing it because I can't,
Yep.
but it's safe you do it here.
And do you agree with that approach in hindsight? Out of curiosity. I'm not throwing your
It's
parents
a
under the bus.
great
but
question.
yeah.
I believe if I was stuck between a rock and a hard place, I would try and open up the line of communication as to why they're doing it before allowing it. Now, if there's like genuine threats to health and safety, well, obviously it's going to be better to do it in my backyard than get stabbed down the street.
Sure.
Right? But at the same time, I've witnessed firsthand the negative impact of drugs and alcohol on the young mind through my friends now that are cooked, for want of better words. Some of them are full-blown fried, some of them are dead, some of them are in jail. So to me, I would do my absolute to make sure that my children didn't even feel the need to do that.
Yeah.
You know, you give
Well,
them other
you are a
outlets.
father now.
Yes.
Right? How, if you don't mind me asking, how old?
They're both under 10.
Under 10?
Yeah.
So let's suppose they came up to you
Yep.
and they said, Dad, they're 16 now. And they go, Dad, I want to chuck a party. We're going to have drugs, alcohol. I want my mates to come in. I want to do it in our home because what would you say?
You're dreaming. See,
Yeah.
with my parents, it was never that upfront. Like,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
have this. We are doing this. I think they just caught wind of it when they'd catch people drinking out the back and they'd be like, oh, this isn't great. But we're not going to kick out a bunch of pissed teenagers onto the road. You know?
Makes sense. Yeah.
And I mean, it's not to say they were irresponsible about it. If anyone ever took it too far, their parents would get called straight away and be like, hey, your child is wok-eyed in my backyard. Come and get him out.
Yes.
You know? But yeah, in hindsight, man, to be honest, I believe that for a lot of the friends there, I won't say a lot, for a handful of friends that experienced this, they actually needed figures like my parents to be able to lean on, right? So my mum and dad turned into mum and dad for a whole group.
Yep.
And to this day, although I may not be friends with these people, my parents still ask about them, which means I still know that these kids, well, not kids anymore, they'd still think about them.
Yeah.
And Dad's had really good conversations with someone before, talked them out of a lot of silly things. So although Dad was a great role model to people at those times, I feel as though I was the one that was sort of forgotten about. I kept slipping through the cracks.
Right.
But yeah, fast forward, man, back to construction. I got out. We got out of Sydney, moved rural. Best thing we ever did, man. And the Instagram, like I said, it all started through coaching content.
Yeah.
I was like, you don't have to go to the pub every afternoon because
Yeah.
a construction thing, right? Pub every afternoon.
Sorry to jump in, but
You're right.
why did you want to send that message? By this point,
Yep.
were you clean? You were
Yep.
like, why were you concerned about the people that you were speaking to?
Because in construction, again, I'm sure listeners of yours will understand that many people run from their feelings, emotions, and they're fueled by shame. So they'll stay drinking.
Yeah.
They'll stay using the drugs every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or whatever it may be, or every day. But they'll still allege to themselves that they're a great father, a great role model, breadwinner.
Yeah.
It's one thing to win the bread and bring it home. It's another thing to be a great role model.
Yep.
Two very different things. And I used to have that confused myself. So then I started calling it out, especially because I saw so much use and abuse of drugs and alcohol in construction. I thought someone's got to say something, man. Like, people get hurt, you know?
What I'm just trying to figure out is, and sorry to keep pressing,
No, you're right.
but it's like you were in that scene yourself. It's not like you were not in this, or you were in the scene and you weren't using drugs and alcohol,
Yep.
and you saw the damages of it and you wanted to come and, you know, like speak out against. You were doing it. You were doing drugs, you were doing alcohol. Where does this, like, where do
Where's
these
the
ethics
change?
and morals come from? And the principles that allow you to be like, to get to a point of being like, all right, now I want to actually help people come out from that. Like, just that kind of pivotal moment
Yep.
where you're in it and
Yep.
then you're out of it.
There's a story I
happens there?
tell. I remember kids were away. I'd had a huge night, and I woke up, rolled out of bed, and I used to have a mirror, one of those sliding wardrobe mirrors.
Yeah. Yep.
I wish it was never there. Rolled out of bed, looked myself in the mirror. Hair, I had long hair at the time. Looked horrible. Didn't know why I do it. Now my hair's going. Anyway.
You got more than me.
Looked in the mirror, right? And I was overweight, bags under my eyes, puffy face. Just everything that could have been wrong was wrong. And I was like, what are you doing to yourself? You know, and to me,
it's just one of those moments.
It was a massive turning point for me.
Wow.
And it's funny, man, like a lot of people, and I've gone on to coach recovering addicts and people coming out of addiction. And I'll say 90% of the time, maybe even more, they have one pivotal moment that they will never, ever, ever forget. And that's what started the change.
Yeah.
Now, from that moment that I'm telling you about now, that didn't change me straight away for good. I didn't go clean straight away.
Yeah.
But that was like the thing that shook the foundation.
Yeah,
So it was
that
whoa.
pivotal point that started it.
It was like, man, you've got to get a grip on this or you're going to just be like everyone else that you used to hang out with, you know? And that was the start of it. And from there, man, I got back into my fitness and funnily enough, unfortunately, I actually found out that I had crashed my own testosterone production within my body from all the years of abuse of alcohol and drugs.
Right.
According to my my specialist. So I now am on TRT for the rest of my life because of what I did wrong.
You're
testosterone replacement therapy.
Right.
For the rest of my life for the actions that I did from my teen years to my young adult.
Yep.
So again, funny, listeners always like, oh, you're just a massive gearhead. Mate, I'm prescribed because of my own stupidity.
Yeah, sure.
There's nothing to be proud of. Yep. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, and that's where it came from because again, I watched friends continue to either keep killing themselves, dying in that life, overdosing, or ending up in jail. And I was like, well, every time you go on social media, you scroll through someone buying a nice car or they look really good or whatever it may be, right?
Yeah.
At the time I started talking about what I was talking about, you still had your Spaniards, like your former criminals, but no one that really, in my opinion, that I saw, wasn't from a criminal lifestyle talking to be good and changing. Like they were all from that lifestyle. There was no one coming out from construction or whatever.
Yeah,
like guys, come on, we can
just
do better.
The everyday bloke kind of thing.
Exactly, and I've never tried to be someone. I'm not sitting here saying I'm anywhere near a Spaniard. I'm not like them. I never used drugs like them. I didn't live a hard life like them.
Sure.
But again, it's about how your body processes trauma or the reality that you live, right? So I was like, man, I got to start doing it. But everything changed for me on social media when one day I saw a news story about a pedophile, and it was horrific. Like thousands of images, the whole kit and caboodle, and he got 3 months in jail. And I was like, I got to talk about this. Something within me was like, that's not okay.
Here in Australia?
Yeah, it was in Australia. It was a Channel 7 news story, I'm pretty sure. And it was the first time I'd done the whole, this is crazy, watch this.
Right.
Played the clip, and then I just let loose after. I was like, F and this and that, and like just, because I was honestly showing the camera how I felt.
Yeah.
Just like you would if it was someone you knew, just like you know what? I did what I always did in my head when I saw a story like that, but I said it out loud.
Yes. And
to me, to most, it would resonate because that voice in their head is saying the same thing that I said out loud.
Yep.
And that's when it took off, man.
Wow.
That's when it took off. And I was like, I'm going to keep doing this because no one else is doing it.
When you say took off?
That was my first viral video, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I no idea what the numbers are. No idea
okay.
how many people followed it from it or whatever. But that was the first one.
How long had you been making content before your first viral video?
Oh, dude.
Roughly.
Months.
Right.
Months.
So you were consistently going at it?
Yeah, bro.
Kind of thing?
Yeah. Every morning when I was walking to site, I'd do a video about don't be a fat, lazy, this and that, and go and do your steps, eat well, whatever, you know? But then, this one just took off. It just took off. And it actually made me realize that we have a problem here that our problem is we don't have people speaking out. Yeah. The whole point of social media is to speak out. Right? Yes. Speak your truth. Don't flash your lovely lifestyle. Show your kids off if it's private because the internet's a dark place now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But no one was speaking their truth. And I was like, dude, I'm doing this again. And it was a bumpy ride to learn, because I actually didn't know at the start that inciting hatred or potential violence via your words was like a flaggable offense. So I nearly lost my account countless times.
Right.
So I had to learn very rapidly, okay, well, you can't scream too loud. You can't use too many expletives. And if you keep it factual, but still speak with conviction, they'll let it go.
They'll let it go.
Right? And I think this is something that people get misconstrued with me, is that conviction and anger are two very different things. Because I can speak in one way, it doesn't mean I'm angry at the person that I'm talking down the phone to. I may be horrified at the crime I'm speaking about, but I'm not angry at all the other people that it's not targeting.
Yeah, sure.
Which is interesting.
I get it. Yeah.
Very interesting. But yeah, man, that's the long way around how I got to where I am and who I am.
It's interesting because I've been very recently, only a few months ago, started to do my own content as well. And I noticed that it's when I'm speaking just completely raw, unfiltered, is what gets the most attention.
Yeah.
So I know what you're saying there, because it's like, you can send all these kind of messages and things like that, but then when there's that point where you're just like, you switch the camera on and you go at it raw,
let loose.
And it's interesting as to why it gets so much attention, and it's because I think it speaks to the frustrations that everyday Australians have.
Exactly.
Somebody articulating their frustrations. And I think that's why, I don't know enough about you yet, but I think that's probably partly why you've exploded, is because you're this relatable guy who's an everyday Aussie bloke, not a politician with this kind of button-up suit, getting on there and kind of just dictating to Australia what's right and what's wrong.
Yeah.
You're just calling it out. And people feel that they resonate with you. Do you agree with that?
That's it's what it seems like to me. Like, to tell you the truth, man, and to tell the audience the truth, I am so far from being the most intelligent in the room, right? But I've plunged myself into this life, and I actually said this on Mark Boris's podcast. He goes, "How's it feel to be in the middle of the political sphere?" Mate, 2 years ago, I knew nothing about this, and I still know very minimal, right? But everything I speak on, I research.
Yeah.
For the reason that I make sure that I know what I am talking about, right?
Yeah, sure.
And what I've found beautiful from the content that I do now is that the way that I speak and the way that I carry myself is what a lot of Australians can relate to.
Yes.
They understand it, man. You throw an F and C in there, they get it straight away.
Yes.
It shakes them out of their chair. They're like, oh, he's speaking our language. It's not some politician, like you said, a politician in a suit saying, oh, I'll take it on notice. It's like, no. There's no I'll take it on notice here. Like, we want answers.
Yeah.
And in the time that I've been online, especially since it's blown up, Australians are researching again. They're learning about what our government are doing to us, right? So I definitely think it resonates far more because I speak like your everyday Australian, man. I'm not here to try and pretend to be someone that I'm not. This is who I am.
Yeah.
This is how I speak. If you don't like it, everyone knows the line. See you later.
Yeah. Yeah. On the note of content creation, you are mainly in short form content creation.
Correct.
Right? And I have now come to the realization of the dangers of short form content creation. And it's just like, I want you to talk on that a little, but I just want to share with you my recent experiences with it, because I've really just started, right? And it's crazy. There's a couple of things. The first thing is you realize how little attention span the Australian public have, or maybe the world has now because of the launch of social media, is that this short thing has just blown up, right? People aren't watching. I mean, you do get people watching long form podcasts and things. I'm one of those people. I can listen to a 3-hour podcast, no problem.
Quite easily.
Right?
If it's interesting.
If it's interesting, 100%. But the majority of people are into this whole kind of flick thing.
The doom scroll,
right?
brother.
The doom scroll. And so you've got that, which is one issue. But then the other issue is that they're not even watching your whole video, right? They're just looking at the hook or whatever it is, the first few seconds. And then they're judging you by that, which then leads to anger, outrage, all of these things, which then in effect I've seen leads to people messaging you, threats, all of these different things as well, which I was not prepared for. I was just like, what the F is this, man?
Yeah.
Like, did you watch my video? Like, I'd literally at the beginning, I'd message back and I'd be like, man, did you watch my video? Did you watch the actual video? Because I think we agree partly on what you're, arguing with me about. But I just noticed far out the dangers of short form. And now I'm just very careful with it. But I want you to talk on that because I've only been doing it for a few months.
Mate, so dangerous. Yeah. So dangerous because people will misconstrue your message as much as they possibly can. They will pull everything out of a message you say to come to whatever conclusion they want to come to. And like, man, a perfect example, we spoke about it briefly offline. So during all the big Pally rallies, the one over the Harbour Bridge, obviously, I spoke out against it, right? And it's not because I don't stand with the people of Palestine, and it's not because I am a pro-Zionist or whatever people wanted to label me, right? It is because I am seeing the Australian public be divided over an international issue. Now, if we can't have a conversation like this about an issue like that, what are you actually going to achieve? Right? You need to be able to converse. And I understand a lot of these people have families back home and there's so many multifaceted issues about it. But when you're creating disharmony within Australia, it becomes an issue to me.
Yep.
Now I'm going to give you a perfect example, and I'm actually glad I came to Sydney while I'm here because last night I went to Disney on Ice with my family. And what was beautiful to me, you had every race, every faith, within an arena, yeah? Everyone got along.
Yep.
But when Moana came on at the end, all the kids were still singing. The core of my message is, with everything that I've ever spoken about, is what we want in this country is a safe, prosperous future for the children of this country.
Yes.
Mate, I don't care what race or religion you are, if you can assimilate to the Australian way of life, you will be welcome, right? Now, that message has seemed to get so misconstrued from someone like myself that now people think that I hate all of Islam. There are Jews that think I hate all Jews. Mate, I've had different sects of Christianity attack me because of where I was baptized again, right?
Wow.
I've had the LGBT community attack me for my own personal opinions. My children have been threatened. My wife have been threatened. People have tried to find my address, you name it. Purely because they do not listen to my message. I might say I don't agree with a government body. I might say I don't agree with extremism. That doesn't mean I hate all of these people.
Yeah.
I've never denounced a race. Perfect example. I pick on a convicted Sudanese teenager who's been charged with countless machete crimes. Somehow part of the Sudanese community think I hate all of them. No.
You just mentioned the word Sudanese.
I don't like that individual because he is a repeat violent offender. He is obviously not trying in any way, shape or form to fall into the Australian way of life.
Yes.
He should be deported. Somehow, all of the Sudanese people that follow the law and contribute to society then think that I hate them. Same as if we see an Islamic extremist.
Yep.
If I speak out about an Islamic extremist, all Muslims think I hate them. That is not true. It's like if I speak about the IDF, there was a video of the IDF, Israeli Defense Force. What did they do, man? They knocked over a statue of Jesus and crushed it with a bulldozer or whatever. Everyone saw the footage, right?
Yeah.
I spoke out about that. Mate, every Jew in Australia thought I hated them all.
Yeah.
Can someone explain to me how the IDF speak for all Jews? They don't. It should not, right?
That's right.
Just like all extremists should not speak for any of the faiths that they follow, right? And I say faiths like this because extremists and faiths should not go together.
Sure.
Whether it be Ku Klux Klan, Christianity, right? You've got your Islamic extremists and you've obviously got Judeo extremism.
Yep.
It's a fact, right? It is fact. There's videos of Zionist extremisms extremists that have killed Christians. There are extremists of all types. All my message has always been, keep it out of Australia. And we should all be able to come to the table and agree on that. True?
Yeah, absolutely.
But somehow, again, coming back to what you said, the dangers of social media, people don't seem to understand that. They want to skew my words to, he hates all of us. Come down here and we'll sort you out. I'm like, brother, if you can't have a conversation, there's nothing to talk about. And this is something that I pride myself in, right? I'll speak to anyone and everyone. If you can respect me
Yep.
and assume that I don't hate you straight away, I'll speak to anyone.
So everything you've said there, reasonable, level-headed,
Yep.
logical. I love it. And it's actually refreshing to hear somebody speak like that, because I hate this whole tribalist mentality now, right? I think the biggest thing that should unite us is the fact that we're Australians, right?
Correct.
But people, you're right to say that people have chosen a tribe, and then if in any way you are not spewing rhetoric that completely aligns you to that tribe, they crucify you,
Correct.
right? But so everything you've said there is reasonable, everything. I love it. Why is it that people are doing this? Is it the short form? Is that what's
It's a
happening?
short form.
It is
for
a
me
short form.
personally, man, and I've actually taken accountability for this many a time, even on posts. Obviously, they never go viral. But I said, I can understand why people have misconstrued the message due to the way that I've spoken.
Sure.
Makes sense,
Yep.
right? Makes perfect sense. But if I then speak to an individual within direct messaging, which, trust me, I've had many threats where I've engaged with them. I was like, okay, you hate me. Why? You want to shoot me. Why? What's wrong? You know?
Yeah.
And it's funny because a lot of these conversations, it ends up being 5, 10, 15 minutes, whatever. We send voice memos like, man, I don't think that I'm better than anyone for the numbers that I have. And I will engage with individuals, right? And I'll also call out poor behavior. And we'll actually find that we aligned with what we're believing in, but they've misconstrued the way that I've spoken. So short form is very dangerous, man. Yep. Very, very dangerous. And you need to make very clear what your message is. Mm-hmm. I think for me, I never thought it'd go this far. I had no idea. I just kept going. I didn't think it'd blow up like this, and here we are, man. So now that's why you'll have seen my content's changed. I don't need to yell at a camera. I don't need to swear as much.
I did notice that. I was just flicking through your Instagram in preparation for this. And yeah, it did start off as like, watch this and blah, 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 and watch this and whatever. And now it's just like a video playing, and it's like level-headed commentary, and people are listening to you.
Correct.
Right? So was that an intended change? Yeah. Like you did that on purpose?
I did it on purpose because I got sick of doing the content I was doing. I was over it.
Why did you get sick of that?
Bro, it's boring.
Right.
For me, take note, obviously, I don't know if my followers even notice. I was doing 2 videos a day every day. I still do nearly 2 videos a day every day. Wow. 9 a.m., 6 p.m.
Yep.
Eastern Standard Time, right? When you have to find new stories and then have the same energy saying, watch this, bro, A, you run out of hooks. But B, it got to a point where I was like, I just don't feel like talking like this anymore.
Yeah.
I've had enough. Like, I got over it, right? And I feel as though my audience have thanked me for it. Like, no one's actually said it. Like my close friends have, obviously. But they wanted to see something else. So I just moved on with the times.
Yeah.
You know, and I, bro, like I said, I got over it.
Yeah.
You can't yell about everything. It's boring.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, at least. And you know what? Someone actually called me the other day. He's got a large platform himself. And he said, man, everyone's doing these videos like yours. Blah, blah, blah. Watch this. And bro, I'll scroll sometimes. Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. I'm like, oh, I got to change, brother. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that's great. You're agile. You're adapting. You're moving on.
Have to,
man.
Have to.
Great.
But yeah, man, to any listener that wants to get into it, there are big dangers with short form.
Yep.
Big dangers.
I've got to be careful myself. And it really makes you think. I even said this to you off camera. You just constantly questioning yourself. Should I keep doing this? You know, you're a father. I'm a father. You're a husband. I'm a husband. How do you remain a father, a good father and a good husband, right? And continue doing this type of content, given the fact that with the type of content that you're making and the numbers that you're making, it also comes with threats and all of these different things. Like, is your missus supported? You're married? Are you?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I call her my wife though.
Your wife? Yeah.
My wife.
Your wife, my wife. Your wife, she's supportive. Is she supportive of what you're doing?
Yeah, man. I will say, when the threats were coming in thick and fast, she's like, can you stop talking about this? You've got to change.
Yep.
Because she gets worried, bro.
Yeah.
We've got kids
naturally.
under 10.
Yeah,
Two kids under 10, you know, and when people threaten them, although most threats we like to assume are just people on burner accounts being idiots.
Yeah.
Thankfully, because I've spoken up for a lot of the veteran community, man, I have a lot of heavy duty veterans that back me and support me, which is awesome. So obviously I have a network of security individuals that I can lean on and say, hey man, what do you reckon of this one?
Yeah.
And these are people that have dealt with and eliminated real threats, you know? So I have the best in the business when it comes to leaning on people and saying, hey man, is this okay? So I think for myself personally, I understand threats because of the life I used to live. Having friends that have been stabbed, bashed, you name it, you know, if guns have been pulled, whatever it may be, right? I understand it. So when I get threats, I take them relatively seriously. Whereas I know for a fact there are creators out there now, they're not pushing numbers like mine. Views they may be, but not followers. They don't take their threats seriously.
Yeah.
And I think in Australia right now, you should.
Yeah.
You should.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, Australia is sitting on a powder keg. We look back to something like Bondi.
Yep.
Man, we're sitting on a powder keg. Like, it takes one big thing for something to go bang.
Yep.
And we're looking into Cronulla riots on steroids. And many people don't want to believe that. Look at the comment sections of any videos, man.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a shame because I get pulled up personally quite a bit. Oh, control your comment sections. Brother, you go control 1 million people. Unfortunately, you can't. You know, it's not that simple.
No, that's right.
And I can't dictate how people feel, think, or react. That's something we are well and truly out of control of.
That's right.
You know?
Absolutely, yeah.
But yeah, man, I think my fiance is super supportive purely now because she's seen the community we've grown around us.
Yep.
We have solid individuals there for everything, and that's special. Now, if I was still living the life that I used to live, if I was still drinking every day while doing this, there'd be no support.
Right.
I'd have no one and nothing.
Yep.
Right? So I think you have to build and grow with what you're experiencing. I mean, it's funny. My parents are still like, what are you doing? I remember the first viral reel that I showed Dad. He's like, how many views did you say that got? And I was like, 4 million. He's 4 million? And I was like, yeah. And then I told him, I think a big month between Facebook and Instagram, I got over 100 million views on the month, right? I told Dad, and he's like, 100 million? Wow. Jeez. And I was like, yeah. And it's funny, like, you know, old wog parents, I don't get it, bro. What are you talking about? You're talking to your phone. But yeah, man, like, look.
It's hard for me to get it as well. Like I was, again, speaking to you about this off camera. You look at the numbers and then you're like, oh, wow, I got 500,000 views or whatever thousand. And you just say it, right? And you take it for granted because my wife said to me, she's like, put this into perspective.
Yeah, man.
She's like, think about how many people 500, 700,000 people are. Think about how many stadiums can be filled with that many people. And I'll say one other thing. A really good mate of mine, he's also a podcaster. He sat there with me when I was talking to him about doing this kind of thing. And he's like, even the short form stuff. And he said, when you start doing this, you'll realize that you'll become desensitized to the numbers that are coming on your screen.
Yeah, dude.
And he said, never take it for granted because he goes, let's imagine, he goes, pulled up a video. He got a few, maybe 10, 20,000 views, something like that. And he goes, now let's pretend you've got 50 views only. And he goes, put it into perspective. If you had 50 people sitting in front of you,
100%.
And he was like, how good would you feel that people are giving you that level of attention to listen to you? Just 50. He goes, now let's do it for 3 people.
Yeah.
Sitting there.
Yep.
He goes, wouldn't you feel good about that? And I said, yeah, man, 3 people listening to me.
Yeah.
And it's just so crazy how, when you put it into perspective, how desensitized we become to these numbers.
You know what I will add on there in terms of being desensitized? You become desensitized to stories.
Yeah.
That can get scary, man. Like, I was speaking to a journo, I won't mention who or where he works, but he's a good friend. I speak to him quite often, and I'm like, how do you deal with this? This was a while ago. And he goes, man, unfortunately, you just desensitized, part of the job. But there are stories that do leave sort of a lasting impact on you. So for me, Bondi was a big one.
Yep.
The recent childcare pedophile, that's one. Like, that's impacted me heavily because of the size of my platform, the reach that the videos get, the responses that I get from parents or people that knew victims, man, I'm getting like almost statements from people that have probably given the same statement to police. So full-blown victim or family victim impact statements from these parents being like, this guy was with my kids, blah, 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 blah. And that's heavy, man. That's really heavy because as a society, I feel as though we've really failed our children and the families that are impacted by this, because what justice really is there? You know, he got to have his face hidden for a whole year and identity covered for a year. Yeah. And the parents were kept in the dark the whole time. You know, they had to play inspector whatever to try and work it out themselves.
That's right.
Which is insane. But I feel as though, coming back to desensitize, one more section on that is that people have become desensitized to what words mean when they say them online. Now, what I mean by this is I've had some absolutely vile messages, right? And I think to myself, would they say that to me face to face? Would they really? And it's not about, I'm not sitting here saying I'm big and tough. I'm not that at all. No. And I think everyone will remember the great video of Mike Tyson turning around and pummeling some kid on the chair behind him because he was bridging up to him on a plane. Yeah. Because it's one thing to bridge up on your phone. It's another thing to bridge up face to face, you know? Exactly. And like I said, man, I'm so cool, calm, collected these days. Like, violence is not for me. Yeah. You know, break into my house, different story. But step to me on the street, I'd prefer to try and talk to you and say, hey, why do you hate me so much? You know? So that's another thing, a problem of the internet, desensitization and dehumanization. People have dehumanized others.
So on that note, you get enormous views, like it's ridiculous, right?
Yep.
More views, it seems, than the amount of people in this country, oftentimes, like when you think about it.
Yeah.
Right? Yep. I say, with great power comes great responsibility, 100%. As they say. Spider-Man, yes, that's what I think about every time, you know. Was it the grandfather, was it?
I think it was, yeah. Or his uncle.
Or his uncle, that's it.
Uncle Ben.
Uncle Ben, that's right. I haven't watched it in ages. So well, firstly, it seems you recognise the level of influence you have in this country now.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel? And how does that impact what you put out there? Like, do you recognise truly the level of, like, you say you do 2 posts a day, 9 a.m., 6 p.m. Okay. Every time you sit down and you record that, you know that at the very minimum, you're getting potentially hundreds of thousands of views. What goes on in your mind when you pick up your phone and you're about to send out a message?
Generally speaking, so the stories as of late, it's funny, I was having another discussion with someone. The news has been quite boring. So when it comes to a story I'm running, at the moment, it's generally just ripping on the government. Absolutely ripping on the government, right? And with great power comes great responsibility. In that aspect, I'm not telling people to pick up their shovels and pitchforks and riot. I'm not saying that at all.
Sure.
I'm saying hold these bastards accountable. You know,
absolutely,
as we should, because they're meant to work for us. People forget that they're meant to work for us. We vote them in, so they say.
Yes.
Right. They're meant to work for us. But when it comes to a story, Bondi is the best example.
Yeah.
Bondi was the first time I was scared about the content I was going to put out because I was getting live updates as it happened. There were a few former military dudes on the ground that had sent my friends videos. So I was getting live videos before the news was getting videos.
Right.
And I was like, oh, this is real. So my best mate, I was actually at a church event. We were at a Christmas Carols church event. My best mate texted me, live shooter in Bondi. And I was like, gangland, postcode, whatever. Could be just something lame, right? And then he's like, 4 casualties. And I was like, oh. Yeah. Jumped on the phone straight away to a former cop I know, and I was like, what's going on? And he's like, we don't know. We're trying to work it out. Then the video starts streaming in. And I actually had a few former Special Forces dudes message me probably 3 or 4 hours after it happened. And they said, we know you're going to talk on this. Be careful.
Special Forces guys, your mates.
Former Special Forces, they said, be careful. And I was like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
And they were like, mate, everything you say now is taken as bond. People will act. Because there has been a mass
outrage kind of thing.
Mass outrage, but there's also been a slaughter, for want of better words.
Right, sure. Sorry.
Right? So people are ready to go kinetic. They're ready to put energy and words into action. And when I got those messages, I sort of sat there and I was like, wow. These are coming from people like door kickers, for example. These are coming from hardened men saying, be careful. And to me, that was when I was like, holy.
Men who understand terrorism, men who...
They understand violence, man.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this is real. Like my account and profile means something.
Yes.
So the first message I put out, I think it was more like it was at 10 p.m. that night, man. I remember saying, like, let's wait and see what happens, what comes of it. Don't act. Just let the victims rest in peace, sort of thing, blah, blah, blah. And then I did a follow-up the one the next morning saying pretty much, be calm. And I got shredded for it. Not entirely, but people are like, why? And I said, okay. And there's one guy in particular, I'll never forget it. He commented on it. And he said, we should riot. Bro, his display picture was him with his daughter, like a 4-year-old girl. And I messaged him. I said, all right, you want to go riot? I said, what about the daughter? Like your daughter. You're holding your hand in your profile picture. I said, what happens if you get shot, killed, arrested, jail? What are you going to achieve? I go, the people that we need to hold to account are not the two individuals. One is now dead, and it's not their community because their community said, we don't accept them.
Yeah.
It's the people that have allowed this to fester in this country.
Yep.
Right? So I smashed Albo. I think one of my most viral reels, man, it was when he said, we're going to take guns away from law-abiding
I
Australians.
saw that one, man.
I said, who the F
You were losing your voice. Bro, you were
I was angry.
up.
But you know what? Typical Labor government.
Yeah.
No accountability. Blames the Australian. Blames the everyday Australian for a terror attack.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that was when I first felt...
It was about the guns.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was about.
That was when I first felt real responsibility, and man, it was nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
Like even my missus picked up on it like 3 days later. She's like, you all right? And I was like, no, this is bad. Like,
yeah.
Because if I had said, and because online was so volatile at the time, if I'd said, you know, let's go ride at Bondi, even if the video had been taken down within an hour, it probably would have got 1 million views.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's all it takes. Someone would have screen recorded it, reposted it, screen recorded it, reposted it.
Have you had politicians, people like that, reach out to you in terms of, well, in any way, but what I'm thinking about is, and I don't know this as a fact, but I just imagine that you would be perceived by the AFP, by the politicians as a potential, threat's the wrong word, but somebody who can or has that level of influence on society can really just like make things happen, essentially.
I feel as though...
Are you on their radar, like in that sense?
I feel as though there would be a team of politicians that would consider me a threat, in the sense of I could probably mobilise a lot of Australians' threat, and they're scared of that.
Yeah.
On the flip side of that coin, I have great relationships with a few politicians, Phil Thompson being one. He is a great man.
Yep.
Former ADF.
Yep.
Listen to his podcast on Zero Limits if you haven't. That's a big shout out to those boys. But it's, you actually learn about who he is as a politician.
Yep.
But I speak with a few state pollies, and I speak with federal pollies, and here and there. Like I'm definitely not buddy. And as I said to you offline, man, in my personal opinion, choosing any political party at this point in time is honestly like rearranging dog shit in your backyard. Crass, true, right? Fact. Sorry about it, you know?
Yep.
But the individuals that I do know and speak to, they're lovely. Bro, they're just like you and I. I have been told that everything I say on my phone, I should be prepared for it to be repeated in court one day. Now, whether they're actively watching me all day, every day, who knows? But after that warning, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I'll take it. And I've heard my platform and some others have most definitely been discussed in closed room political meetings.
Yep.
So they know who we are.
Yeah.
They know what we do. I do believe that they probably think we are somewhat of a threat.
It's crazy because if they just sat down and listened to your long forms, which I doubt they do, by the way, because these guys are... Look, I'm not a fan of any political party, to be honest, at this point.
Yep.
And you see how out of touch they are.
Yeah.
And that makes you wonder whether they even sit down and listen to these long form. But your approach so far, from what I've heard, is one of the most level-headed, fair responses and approaches that I've seen. So to see and to look at you as a threat, it's like, why would you be a threat if you've spoken about being called anti-Semitism. Are you an anti-Semite?
No.
No. So you're stating it on the record. You spoke about being labelled as a anti...
Islamophobe.
Islamophobe, sorry, yep. Are you?
No way.
No, great. I don't know what else you've been labelled as, but it's clear and obvious that you're not any of those things, right? And you're speaking, in my opinion, on a very kind of fair level where you're saying, I just want people to be proud to be Australian. I just want people to assimilate. I want people to love their country, still have an appreciation, I imagine. I'm not going to put words in your mouth. Still have an appreciation for their culture, their faith, and all of those different things. That's great. That's what I guess makes us unique in Australia, is that we're Australian, but we're made up of many different cultures and things like that. That seems like a fair response to me. Why would you be a threat to the Australian public?
Don't know.
You know?
I can't answer that, And it's funny, like I agreed with Pauline Hanson the other day. First time in probably a while. I'll say on the record, I'm not a one nation mouthpiece.
Yep.
I agreed with one point she made, and it was about monoculture. Now, many people get the idea of monoculture misconstrued as we're just going to have toast and Vegemite and budding Sambos, right? The idea of monoculture is not you lose your identity or you lose who you are. It's that if you come to this country, like my grandfather did, my papa, who's now passed away at 101, right? And he rammed this into my head. He came here and he did everything that he could to be part of the Australian culture. He didn't come here and say, righto, I'm the big boss now. I'm the Cypriot Greek. You're going to live like me. Good luck back in Gundagai. Good luck happening. And even my yaya on my mum's side, she's 97. And I asked her, I said, when you came to, she was the first Greek born in Tasmania, or the first family, right? I said, so when your family came here, like what did you feel like you owed Australia? She said, we owe Australia everything.
Everything.
I said, what did you expect out of Australia? She said, nothing. And this is the problem, my friend. The problem is that we are now filling with people that expect everything out of Australia and want to give zero back.
The opposite. You're right.
And this is the problem. So when people call me racist for saying that I want better vetted migration, I'm not sitting here saying that different races, ethnicities, religions are the problem. The problem is that we are accepting people that want to give nothing back to Australia.
Yes.
That is the crux of our issue.
I mean, you're a great example of it. You were born in Colombia. I know were you a couple months old when you came here? Is that what you said?
2 months old.
2 months old. So you've come here and you made a comment about people saying that you're not Australian, which I'd be interested to hear about in a minute. But your parents as well, your parents are Cypriot Greeks.
Yep.
They've come into this country. So you're not anti-immigration, it seems. I'm the same, by the way. I was born here in Australia, but my parents came here from Lebanon.
Yep.
So, and people ask me all the time, they're like, so I don't get it. Like, are you anti-immigration? Or I'm not anti-immigration. I'm grateful that Australia accepted my parents here into this country. Very grateful for it. But what is your perspective on it? What is your perspective on immigration in Australia?
I think at this point in time, man, we need to really assess the people that we have here.
Yep.
We need to assess the people we are letting in.
Yep.
And I feel as though it would be irresponsible of our government to allow the same volume to continue to come. Even if it was halved, it would be irresponsible because you have so much disharmony within the Australian population around this issue. So much. People are pissed off, right?
Yeah.
And the only way to solve your own people getting pissed off is to focus on them. Stop focusing on propping up your GDP on paper by bringing people in.
Yeah.
Per capita, I believe we're currently in a recession, right?
Yes.
But they want to bring more in to prop it up. Oh, it's all good, smooth sailing. It's not, right? Just bite the bullet. Give us the pain because we are sick and tired of people coming here and disrespecting what they can get here. Yes. And that is fact, right? So am I pro-immigration? Am I against immigration? I think I sit in the middle.
Yep.
But it needs to be, this is the problem. It is not that simple of a thing to stand on. You can't say, yeah, I'm pro or I'm against because there are so many issues inside of it that you need to discuss. So if we had immigration that was vetted properly,
yes.
If we expected these individuals to speak proper English, if we expected them to give back to the Australian way of life, if we expected them to assimilate to the way of life, these are all great things.
Spot on. Yep.
Right? Now, if they don't do these things, why should we let them in? Mm-hmm. Now, I also believe on the flip side of this coin, if we have let individuals in and they do not do these things and they start committing crime, you go back to where you came from.
Absolutely.
Why should we, the taxpayer, the Australian citizen, pay for these individuals within our systems? What for? Why do we have so many people that can come here and get instant benefits when, example, my papa or your family? Bro, imagine them going to Centrelink back then.
Yeah.
Get out.
Get out. Yeah,
No
that's
way.
right.
Get
Yeah,
out.
Yeah.
You know? So I believe, look, at this point in time, there's no simple fix, right? If you cut immigration, we're straight into a recession.
Yes.
Straight into a recession. And there's pain, a lot of pain, right?
Yeah.
I feel as though many people don't understand that point.
Yeah, sure.
I
That's
feel
a good point.
Many
Yeah.
people are very emotionally charged around this, but they don't look at the implications of what happens if we do cut immigration. If we were to stop it tomorrow,
Yep.
Australia's in pain.
In pain.
Big
Yeah.
pain, right?
Yeah.
But there are many people that believe that it's a pain worth experiencing because we fix Australia again.
Yes.
And my personal opinion is somewhere in between. I think you want to find that happy medium so you don't fall into a full-blown depression,
Yep.
ruin everything. But we still need to definitely focus on our own backyard. An analogy I've used many a times, Australians are so good at looking over the fence and forgetting there's a crater in your backyard.
Yeah.
It's what we always do.
Yeah.
We've always done it. But right now is the time to look at that crater and say, holy moly, we need to fill that back up, because if we don't, that's going to get bigger and we're going to step down off the fence paling and we're not coming back.
I think you touched on something, like you hit the nail on the head, because you're right. Either it's kind of a partisan issue almost now, where it's like either people are anti-immigration or they're pro-immigration. And then that kind of middle part is interesting. And I think that's where I think that's where the solution lies, because what you're saying is don't stop the people from coming in. A, look at the people who are coming in, make sure that they're the right people coming in. But B, it's under the umbrella of the whole cultural element of Australia. Is like, who are these people? That's one thing. The other thing is, are these people open to assimilating into the Australian culture? Do they speak English? All of these things. So I feel like the issue lies in the cultural element, which is, that's the gap. It's like, why aren't we proud to be Australian? What, like, that is the gap there. And it's like our government, I'm not seeing them promoting a nationalistic ideology, or like, it doesn't have to be a nationalistic ideology, but just at least like the whole culture of be proud to be Australian. Like, they're not even letting us wear our flags, you know. Like,
I'll interject there, right?
Yeah.
So nationalism in Australia is seen as a sin.
yes,
To the government, to the entities, the enterprises, whatever we want to call these things, right? So, I'm going to forget. I believe it's Victoria Police can't wear the Australian flag with the thin blue line.
Correct.
Patch.
Yeah. Yep.
Corrections aren't allowed to wear it. I believe New South Wales Police can't wear it as well.
They wear the LGBTQ
But they all can wear the flags. They can all wear the pins. They can all wear the Indigenous flag. Now, I have nothing against the Indigenous flag. There's a whole argument in the very far right of there should only be one flag. The Indigenous aren't allowed to have their own whatever. I don't buy into that. One of my good friends, he's Indigenous.
Yep.
And he's doing his absolute best to bridge that gap. Now, if you take their identity away by taking that flag away, you're never going to bridge that gap.
Yep.
So it's imperative that Australians, white Australians, people like you and I, whatever you want to call us, bridge the gap with the Indigenous, because together we are far stronger.
Yes,
Our
absolutely.
problem is the government every day of the week, not the person, right?
Yes.
But nationalism is actually starting to become a sin. You are a racist, you are a bigot, you are all of these negatives.
Why? But like, why are they doing that? And it's not limited to the Labor Party, I don't think. Like, maybe more so. Like, we've had liberal Labor constantly throughout the years.
I feel like the trajectory's led us to the same point.
Yes, that's
Both.
right.
Look, why? I feel as though they want a weaker population. They want people who aren't proud of where they're from.
Yes.
Because they're easier to control. COVID is example A. You shut everyone down. You leave the bottle shops open. You close the gyms. You stop them from going to work. You end up with a docile alcoholic population that have no thought process of themselves.
Hit the nail on the
It worked,
head
didn't
there.
it? It worked. And from there, we've seen a steep decline. We've seen drag time stories for kids. You know, we've seen kids go to these parades full of whatever these people want to call themselves, you know. But then they start attacking our national identity. Now, I remember, man, like I was at the 2000 Olympics. I was only a kid, but how proud was everyone to be Australian? How proud was everyone that the Socceroos went well at the World Cup just now?
Yeah,
right?
it was better back then. You're right.
Yeah.
It wasn't perfect. It
was better.
Yeah, it was better.
Wasn't perfect. There's always going to be issues. Right?
Yeah, sure.
You know what disgusted me about this most recent World Cup? People politicised it. But those Socceroos, irrespective of their background, they assimilated to the Australian way. They became part of a monoculture. They didn't lose their food. No, they didn't lose the colour of their skin. But they became people of society in Australia that gave back to the point where they played on the world stage. Why politicise that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel as though it definitely is, man. You wave a flag, you're a racist. What's racist about that? Go to Japan, brother.
Yeah.
They're so proud, staunch. They're a perfect example of being proud of their country.
Yes.
You know? And so many other countries are proud of it. I feel as though Australia seems to, this will be a little bit tinfoil hat of me, it always seems to be a bit of a testing ground for these things. COVID, another example of the lockdowns. So if they can break a population to no longer be proud of where they're from, again, easy to control.
Yes. Yeah.
It's just a sad truth, man.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. I've just had a flashback as you were speaking. When I was in primary school, every, I think, Monday morning, we used to stand out in the, in the schoolyard, and we used to sing the national anthem. I don't know if anyone does that anymore. I don't know
they
if
still
schools
do.
Do they do that?
Yeah.
Well, that's good then at the very least. But you mentioned Bondi a few times. Well, that's just an example of where we went wrong, I think, or in allowing people in, or maybe some of the ideologies that are festering in Australia.
Yep.
It doesn't, I don't want to just limit it to kind of the Islamic extremism, but just extremism in general.
Yep.
Why is that happening more and more? Where is it coming from? What is your opinion on it, at least?
I feel as though our government have let it fester.
Yep.
It's always been here. It always will be here. Extremism of all types will always have claws and roots in society. It's just the way it is. Whether you be far-right neo-Nazi, whether you be Islamic extremists, whatever it may be, it will always have roots within society. But it becomes an issue when it starts sprouting and it starts becoming more proud of itself.
Yeah.
And when the government doesn't come down on it.
Yep.
Right? I believe wholeheartedly, if we're going to look at the past, 4 years Labor government, it's their fault, man. They have, and I can say this confidently because I have had plenty of current serving members message me in confidence, confidentiality as well, and told me about funding cuts, about how stretched they are to follow people. Perfect example. Not even extremism. Let's look at gangland crime. Yep. And I don't talk about this very often because I stay away from that world because that is a world of its own. I don't speak on that because generally speaking, that world does not cross over into the everyday civilian world. But we can use it as a perfect example to Bondi and what Albo said regarding legal gun owners. How many shootings have we seen in New South Wales in probably the past, we'll call it month, maybe one a week at least? Right?
Yeah.
Are they legal guns? No, of course not.
That's right.
They're all illegal firearms. So what has the government done to quash that? Nothing. But what have they done to take away legal gun owners?
Legal gun owners.
Everything.
A lot.
They've put all this money into taking guns away from those that are allowed to have it.
Yeah.
But they have no resources to tackle the illegal gun trade. So this right there should answer everyone's question of why it's gotten this far.
Yeah.
The government have failed. I can even see you're thinking about it now that I've said it. You've
Yes,
realised
yeah.
it, right? The penny's dropped. The government are failing us.
Yeah.
It's not, and you know what? People blame the police. They're like, oh, it's the police fault. They need to do a better job. Mate, some of the cops that I've spoken to that follow a lot of these job stories, whatever it may be, mate, they're doing everything they can.
Yeah.
And they're good at their job. But it is the way that these places, corporations, whatever we want to call them now, right, treat the individuals that work for them. That's why we're here. They redirect money to your DEI hires, your LGBTQIA liaison officers. Look, no offense to the listener, right? But if you're a they, them, and you need someone to come and rub your back because someone called you a name, toughen up. I'd prefer the cop to be going and kicking down a door for someone that might shoot up a block.
Yeah.
Harsh truth, but always been told facts over feelings, right? It's just the way it is. So personally, I feel as though it's the government and the way that they have handled and managed funds and targets. That is the problem.
You're right. Like, you look at Bondi, and this is really what got me into this whole content creation. That actually is the moment where I started.
Yep.
And it was the point in which I identified exactly what they were doing, which most people missed, I think. Because if you go on my platform, you'll see that what exploded was me saying, you know, it was basically when the government came out in response to the massacre. And it's like they used this tragedy as a way to just tighten more control
Exactly.
on the average Australian people by way of, as you pointed out, guns.
Yep.
But then the biggest thing for me was what I came out and said, which was the free speech thing, the whole hate speech thing,
laws.
right?
Yep.
Because everyone was like, oh, great. They were celebrating. This is what I was seeing. They're like, oh, great. Now, you know, we're not going to have these, Islamists chanting things like globalize the whatever and all of that stuff. Now, apparently it's illegal to say it, which is why I didn't finish it. But it's just crazy. And they were like, great, you know, like, and they're cheering. And I was like, okay, well, it's good that we don't have people saying that. But I was like, this is a concern. They are introducing hate speech measures to control your speech.
Correct.
And I said, I just said, like, open your eyes and see. They don't really care. They kind of framed it under the concern for religious people and vulnerable members of society and things like that. But I was like, what does this mean? Who defines hate? All we need to do is look towards the UK and Canada.
Yeah.
And just see what happened there when they tightened hate speech laws there. You started seeing people getting arrested for Facebook comments. And I was kind of trying to point that out to people, saying, this is what the government's doing. Don't celebrate what's going on now. Who defines hate? This is very grey. This is vague. And, you know, that kind of went off. So, yeah, I guess I just want to touch on that, the hate speech. What is your understanding of these hate speech laws? Do you support? I imagine you don't. But do you? I'm not going to speak on your behalf. You tell me, because actually, surprisingly, and we'll touch on this next if that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, this whole church thing, ex-church that has become this nightclub and whatever.
Yep.
There are people on, you know, on my side, but not really my side. I wouldn't characterize it as my side, but on the side of the Christian side at least.
Yep.
That actually have differing views. I would say I have differing views to them. Certainly, but yeah, what do you think?
Look, I think the speech thing's a real problem. It's a real problem because who are the government to tell us what we can or can't say? Now, if they were handling the issues of extremism, crime, all of these things that are festering true hatred and kinetic issues onto our streets, so real action being taken and people being hurt, if they were targeting that, you wouldn't need to target speech, would you?
Yeah.
Because the speech would never turn into...
Spot on.
It's literally that simple, right? And I remember going over that whole bill. I read it twice, 3 times. Then I read, then they changed it a little bit. They skewed something out of it. I can't remember now, right? But I remember thinking, like, this will be used to shut people like me down eventually.
Yes.
So, again, being in this space, whether it be long form, short form, commentary, you have to evolve with the times and the laws they throw at you. Now, this is also, it actually works in my defense, though, because if I was truly a hateful individual, would they not have got rid of me? Would they not have arrested me? And this is what people don't understand. Now, like I said, man, I firmly believe that we should have right to free speech, but this is very interesting. This is quite controversial. I had a friend who recently went to China, former ADF. He's a very intelligent individual. He said, in China, you are safe. You are very safe. You don't have the right to free speech, though. There are things you cannot say. There are things you cannot talk about or talk negatively about, I should say. But you are safe. So he says, what would you prefer? Not to be able to criticize the government and have a safe community?
Right.
Or would you prefer to be able to have your free speech of saying the government can go jam it, but the streets are a mess?
Right.
And it was interesting when he put it to me like that, because you look at somewhere like Dubai, and many people say, horrible example. Okay, whatever. No extremism in Dubai, though, is there?
I think Dubai is a good example.
people like to say it's a horrible example for whatever reason. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion, right?
Sure.
But Dubai, another example.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Wealthy, heaps of expats. And you know what? The Emiratis are very, very, very well looked after because their government respects their people.
Yes, that's right.
No one there becomes a citizen. Very difficult to become one.
Yes.
As I've been taught, right? So that throws a massive spanner into the whole works of free speech, right? You look at somewhere like America. America, in some parts, is very safe. You've got your guns, free speech, hoorah, you know? Other parts of America, it's a cesspool. But look, from what we know and what we've been used to in Australia, we should not be scrutinised for what we say. The people that should be scrutinised are the people that are going to act outside of the way a decent human being should act.
Yeah, sure.
And our government's not doing that.
Yeah, I think the
They're
way
not
to
scrutinising.
Yes.
They're not kicking doors in, man.
Yeah. Well, like the thing that I was saying is, if you're worried about the people that are going to act, right? Incitement to violence is already a crime. It has been
Always
forever.
has. Correct.
It always has been.
Correct.
So what was the need for these new hate speech measures? And it's like
what you said.
They could have used those laws, the incitement to violence laws, to arrest and, you know, to shut these places down that were spreading extremism. They could have used that law. What was the need of this new law? There was, in my opinion, there was no need. It was a farce. It was a way of diverting attention away from them taking accountability and responsibility.
Of course, man.
All of those things. But then in addition to that, it was, in my opinion, and I agree with you, it was just to instill another level of control on the Australian people.
Of course.
And they've got us by the balls essentially now, don't they?
Yep.
Like, I've got to be super careful now. I'm doing this content thing. You've been doing it for a while. Like, before I upload anything, I'm like, man, have I committed hate speech, whatever that freaking means? And we just got to be careful, because who determines what it is? They do. And if they determine that what I've said is hate, well, I'm going to have the hate speech police on my door saying, you know, here's your first warning. Otherwise, you're up for potentially 15 years in prison.
That's right.
It's just crazy, man.
It's wild. And you know what, man? I've said this before. Coming back to Bondi quickly, remember when Albo got booed walking into that event and he was going to talk? Imagine, and give me your honest answer, imagine if Albo got up there and said, guys, this is my government's fault. We dropped the ball. This is obviously more formal. You know, these people slipped through the cracks because we took funding away. This is entirely and utterly our fault. What would you have thought of him?
Mate, I would have respected him. I can tell you
for
that
the rest of the
now.
days. I don't
100%.
care. Man, the budget would have come out. I would have said, okay, he jammed business owners, but he took accountability.
Yes.
Taking accountability for lives lost is something that very few country leaders probably do. Obviously, having read a lot of military stuff, listening to and knowing, when lives are lost there, man, someone takes accountability. They're like, I could have done this, I could have done that. So imagine if he got up there to the whole nation and said the Labor government have failed the people of Australia, we're going to do better. Bro, I wouldn't have had any content for one. I would have said, wow, this guy has a big sack, strong man.
But that's what the Australian people want. It's just freaking crazy
we
how
want
they don't
accountability.
realise that.
We want accountability. That's all we want. We don't want to see him on some lame podcast talking about who he's going to shag.
Yeah.
You know, we want him to come out and say, guys, I've done a really bad job at something, whatever it may be. But I think, look, they live in an ivory tower.
Yeah.
The walls are so white that they are blinded to you and I.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter whether you're a business owner, doesn't matter whether you're a construction worker, an office worker, a lawyer, a doctor, whatever. They are so disconnected.
Yeah.
Because for the rest of his life, he'll retire and get between 200 to 400K a year.
400, yeah, that's right.
He's always been employed and paid by the taxpayer. He has no former prior knowledge in another job.
Yep.
Same as Chalmers, our treasurer.
Yep.
He's not an accountant. You know?
No.
This is our problem.
This is one of the biggest problems in Australian politics, is that you really don't need any sort of experience, business experience for that matter.
Fake it till you make it.
Fake it till you make it. Know a few people, and you can make it to the top. We've seen that in Albo. We've seen that in many of the prior politicians that have come before us. But it's just, it baffles me how somebody with no business experience whatsoever can manage the biggest business ultimately,
The country.
in the entire country, which is the country itself.
Be careful saying that, because the lefties will clip you up and say, you can't run a country like a business. Well, You know what? If we actually did, just for a little bit, we'd probably be better off.
Yeah.
You know, and like I've been smashed for that before. How dumb is he to say that you run it like a company? Mate, we are currently running at a massive loss. $1 trillion in the hole.
Yeah.
We pay, I did these figures the other day. It's like 100 grand in debt compounds every, I'd like to say a minute, but I don't think it's that. But whatever it is, right? It's a lot. Bro, this is debt that our kids are paying. And because we don't use our resources to pay this off, we allow people pretty much to take it for free.
Yeah.
And then sell it back to us, mind you.
Yep.
This is the problem.
Yeah,
Our government is running us down this hole the wrong way.
And they do not give a crap, man. Look, I looked into it. I run a couple of companies.
Yep.
By the way, I'll address this first. The people that say you can't run a nation as a company. Fair enough. There's probably some things that I'm not considering, by the way, and I'd love to be pulled up on it. But I run companies, and I can tell you now what I do. I make sure that my companies are profitable. I make sure that my staff and my people are well looked after. If they bring things to my, any concerns to me, whether it's family, whether it's anything like that, I sit down and I listen to them and I see what I can do to help them. I don't see what I'm missing. Like these lefties and things like that, they look at people who run companies, small business owners, all these things as evil people.
Bro, we're the devil.
It's like, we're the devil, man. It's unbelievable. It's like, man, my staff get paid triple my wage, by the way. I look after my staff more than I look after myself. This is just what happens in
that's business. They don't understand that, though. They think you're minted, the people that work for you are dirt broke, and that's what they think, man.
Yeah. It's just crazy. And it's like you said, well, I think that like it couldn't be worse, at least, if we just gave it a shot. Get somebody who's run a few companies or who's run a company. You know, people give Pauline Hanson shit. Oh, she's a fish and chips shop owner.
Oh.
It's like she's at least run a company.
Fish
Look,
and chips.
I'm not a huge Pauline Hanson fan, by the way. Like I look at the good things that she's doing and I praise her for them. And then some of the other things, I call her out just the same way as any other politician.
I will interject there. Look,
Yeah.
people misconstrue that I am a one nation mouthpiece. I said before I'm not. But the reason why there has been a rise, and I know we spoke about this offline briefly, or off air, people want change.
Yes.
And she's offering a different flavour.
Yes, correct.
Now, whether or not that flavour will taste good if the power is there, that's a whole other thing.
knows?
But like I've said in my content before, right, and this is up to the viewer to deal with, if she turns into a horrific flavour, if she gets power, you, the individual, needs to make sure that you hold her accountable.
Correct.
Don't just sit there and do the same thing we've done for years. You know, like me being only 30, some people always think I'm older. I'm only 30 years old, right? And they're like, oh, well, why weren't you talking to... Yeah, I'm only 30.
I didn't even know that.
No, I'm only 30. And some people are like, well, why weren't you talking about this 10 years ago? Man, I was 20 years old. I did not care about anything to do with politics, right? So then I look at people that are in their 40s, 50s, 60s even. I'm like, you know it's been going the wrong way.
Yep.
But you've done nothing. That's what bothers me. So anyway, back to the Pauline Hanson. Hold her accountable if she drops the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, like, look, I'm all for giving something else a crack, but this is what I've called on for quite a while now, at least in and amongst my circle. I don't know what you think about this. I think it's pretty reasonable. You know, you get those people that come up to you and they're like, oh, politics is shit. I don't even vote. I go and I draw pictures of like a bloody doodle or something like that. And they, do you know what I mean? And they think they're cool for saying that. But man, I'm just, what I say to them is, man, if everyone had that approach, we maybe we're doing this to ourselves. Are we getting these shitty politicians in and shitty parties in?
That's a fault of our own.
It's a fault of our own. And I'm like, imagine you, and I'm one person. But, you know, that mentality and that culture is actually among thousands and thousands of people. What if we actually just picked up the pen, well, firstly, looked at their policies, understood their policies, got the pen and actually voted, right? Could we have a different party? Because in my opinion, the reason why the Labor Party are in at the moment is because the only people who are voting are those who are emotionally charged. And the Labor Party, they're experts at it.
Emotionally charging.
So, and that's the thing is that, like, what do they talk on? They talk on matters of LGBTQ.
Yep.
That's an emotionally charged topic.
100% it is.
Islamophobia, that's an emotionally charged topic.
Yep.
All of these kind of topics. And then these guys, they resonate with it. So they pick up the pen and they vote Labor.
Yep.
And then us, on the other side, I'm not saying the other side is the Liberal side, by the way. I want to make that very clear.
Just the other side of Labor.
The other side
Everyone
of Labor.
but Labor supporter.
Correct, yeah, spot on. Is like, we're sick of everyone. They're all just doing shit. So we just draw doodles. Yep. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So
I feel, look, piggybacking off that, people need to understand the preferential voting system. I'm still wrapping my head around it. I'm trying to do a piece on it coming into the federal election time and bigger state elections. It is the biggest sham I've ever delved into. It's cooked.
Yeah.
Like, someone will clip that up and say I'm an idiot for it, but when you actually try and break down how it works, it is such a horrible system. It is almost, I can't say it's rigged, but it heavily favours the two major parties. And that's fact. You can't disprove me on that because it's just the way it works, right? So to actually incite change, you would need to rally all the people that say she be right and just draw on their ballot cards, right? You would need them all to start voting correctly as well.
Yes.
Educate them on how to do it, like you just said. And unfortunately, in this country, that is quite difficult because, again, we've got so many she be right, mate. Too many
that's
footy and
culture,
beer,
right?
you know. And look, I've got friends that partake in that sort of lifestyle. She be right.
Yeah.
But you know what's interesting, I will say? The past 6 months, that started to change.
Yeah.
They've had enough. They have had enough.
Do you think you'd use your platform not to encourage voters to go one way or the other, but at least to educate voters on how to vote?
Yeah, I'm planning on trying to get something done.
Yeah.
But I want a professional to come and do it.
Yes. Yeah.
And then this comes back to the whole problem with short form content. People staying engaged to watch someone else that's not me. I'm still going to try.
Well, maybe you can get that professional to at least teach you the ropes, and then you can deliver.
Just
it.
give me a rundown.
Yeah.
Start swearing at everyone.
Yeah.
Listen up.
Exactly.
Listen
right.
up. But yeah, man, look, something needs to change. I feel as though, look, like I said before, people are definitely researching far more, which is great. The next thing they need to work out is how to vote properly to then get rid of the people that they really do not want in power anymore.
Yeah, 100%. I also wanted to talk to you about what happened yesterday.
Yep.
This episode won't be aired until Monday, but today's Saturday. Yesterday we had the peaceful protest outside of what used to be a church, 150-year-old church. That's actually, funnily enough, how we connected. So I want to get your thoughts on what happened there, but also the whole anti-Catholic, anti-Christian kind of. Well, it's anti-Christian. It's not anti-Catholic. It's anti-Christian kind of ideology. It's been festering for a long time. Why Christianity? Why is it that the left hate Christianity so much?
It's funny, man. I wish I knew the creator's name. He's an Irish lad, I believe. Or Scottish.
Yeah, I saw him yesterday. I can't remember his name.
He lives overseas. He lives overseas,
okay.
this one.
Sorry, yeah.
Great guy. I remember he was standing outside a church and he goes, our whole lives they've tried to make Christianity look like we're the funny people. The Ned Flanders of the world is the example he gave. You know, the Bible bashers, the weirdos, the ones that are just, outskirts, fringe society sort of people. And it's true, man. The attack has been on it for years and years and years. And me personally, I was Christian Orthodox or baptized Orthodox as a baby. And then I went and got rebaptized, and many of the Catholics out there, and unfortunately they attacked me for it, as well as Orthodox. They're like, "Oh, why'd you do that?" I personally did it to start again, start fresh, right? Judge me for it, doesn't bother me. But it was interesting because it made me see how do I even explain this? It made me see how disconnected Christianity is to even itself.
Yeah, wow, that's a powerful point.
You know, why attack a fellow Christian because he felt he was doing the right thing just because your way of Christianity does not believe in that? You still believe in Christianity, true? You're still believing in Christ. You're still believing in the crucifixion.
It's almost a tribalist mentality, like join my team kind of thing, isn't it?
Right. How sad is that?
It is.
And you know what? And someone will clip this up again. I don't care. You look at Islam. Yeah, you've got Shia, Sunni. Mm-hmm. You know the one thing about those two sects? Although they don't like each other, Muslims stay staunch together. Bro. I know Orthodox and Catholics that'll fight over their own.
Yes.
Brother, put Muslims together.
They come together. They put their differences aside.
You know, and someone could fact check me on that and say, well, what about this and that? It doesn't matter. You know, they stand very strong together. Now, look, coming back to Christianity, I believe that we've actually allowed ourselves to get to this point.
Yeah.
The attacks have continued to come. We've let it go. I saw very big, a Muslim influencer. I'm going to forget his name. He's known as the Aussie Mammoth, the Muslim Undertaker. I forget his name. He's a lovely guy. I've spoken to him before, right? He did a post in a church that the Islamic community in Melbourne had bought, saying this is turning into a mosque. But I saw all these Christians upset in the comment section. And I said, I actually commented to myself. I said, good on you all, you know, deserving. And a Christian came back and goes, no. I said,
you for it.
I said, brother, did you go to this church? Did the people of that community go to this church?
Fair call.
No. So don't get upset because another faith wants to use the church that you stopped using.
Yeah.
If you're not going to go and support your local church, don't get upset when it turns to something, or actually, no, I'll rephrase this. Don't get upset when another faith uses it for their own faith.
Yeah.
Now, coming to Divine Playhouse, this is a different story. So obviously deconsecrated, when was it, 1930?
30-something.
30? Long time ago, right?
Yeah.
So my problem is not the fact that a nightclub opened in a church, because there are many churches or deconsecrated churches that have become nightclubs. It's the fact that they were very clearly, openly, and no shame, sacrilegious.
Correct. Yep.
Massively, right? That to me is not okay. Irrespective of church, no church. Do that anywhere. That should be a problem to any Christian.
Yeah,
True?
sure.
And I feel as though, again, it's just another sign of an attack on Christianity. But this time, the tables played a little different to what they were used to. Christians united.
Yeah.
I did a post on it. Man, I had Muslims agreeing with us, saying, this is wrong. We don't agree with this.
It was nice to see that. Yeah.
And that shows something far greater than the divide that we've seen. It shows that our faith actually can unite us against the common enemy.
Yes.
And the common enemy at the time is not the individuals.
No.
It's not the people. I'm not saying those people are evil. I'm saying the way that they are.
It's the mockery. It's the
way they're behaving, the mockery, that's evil.
Yes.
You know, and that's wrong.
Agreed.
So to see Christian, Muslim, all sects of Christianity, mind you, because you're Catholic. I saw a few Orthodox boys down there as well last night.
Yeah. Oh, there was all sorts there. It was
walks,
great.
Right?
Even people who didn't believe in God, which we appreciated very much.
Which is amazing, right? And I feel as though it's very interesting because it shows me that, the tides are changing within the country. People are sick of the putrid behaviour that we see get put on show. Keep it behind closed doors, bro.
Yeah.
Go to your red rooms, whatever it is, you know?
Yeah.
I don't want to see it on my Instagram feed. I don't want the government funding it. $100,000. Thank you very much.
That's the key thing there.
Mr. Mins.
That's right. And that's the key thing. I'll speak on my own behalf. When I posted the video I did, what I said was what I didn't like.
Yep.
Look, well, I don't like any of it, just to put it out there. Obviously, I don't like what's going on in there. Do I think that it should have been shut down and stopped, to be honest? And I'll get hate from, the Christian side for saying this. To be honest, no. I don't think, I would like to see it shut down. I'm not going to say that I'm complaining that it's shut down.
But it's gone, yeah.
I don't personally like the fact that it was forced to be shut down because I didn't like what I saw, right? I'm a free speech absolutist, is what I say, right? As Elon Musk says. I think freedom of speech is imperative as long as we're not inciting violence. My thing is that I was calling out the government and I was like, you introduce these hate speech restrictions and you guise it under concern for vulnerable people and religious people and all these things. And then on the other side, what you're doing is you're allowing mockery to occur and you're funding it.
Yep.
So I'm calling out the contradiction there, saying if you're going to introduce these hate speech measures because you don't want this to be happening, but then behind closed doors because you think we didn't notice or we wouldn't notice, you're giving these people $100,000, it seems. I was calling them out for that.
100%.
And the government still haven't taken responsibility. I know Minns has come out and said, we're going to investigate it and things like that, but they'll sweep it under the rug. They won't look into that. I just want to touch on what you spoke about in terms of coming back to Christ and how you kind of copped a bit of hate from the Orthodox and the Christian and the Catholic side and things like that. I think it's a real big shame that happened, because what I want to point out, I've been a Catholic my whole life.
Yep.
I did go through a time, actually quite recently. I've got Thomas Aquinas here because he's the one that helped me come back to the faith, just through the kind of intellectual means back into the faith. Because even though I was practicing my whole life, I was just doing the motions of going to church. But
practicing and living? Sorry.
Yes.
Two very different things.
Two very different things.
And my pastor, so we go to I can't even remember what Christianity is, Pentecostal or whatever.
Yeah, sure.
My wife loves it, sing song, kids love it, whatever. For me, I go to church to have a relationship with God, but the pastor always says, he goes, practicing and living are two very, very different things, man.
Yes.
Carry on, sorry.
I think that's a very powerful
I had to say
point.
the thought, yeah.
I'm glad you said that. And the thing is I was practicing for so long, but did I truly believe in God?
Yeah.
And that thing was really getting to me, whereas like I'd sit there and I'm like, okay, I'm doing all these things, but when I die, is there actually going to be an afterlife? Is there going to be a God? Is there going to be any of this stuff? And I didn't believe it. I didn't. So I went through this period where I continued the motions of going to church, but essentially within my own heart, I was an atheist. And in that period really is where I went to church and I sat down and I saw hundreds of people attend weekly mass or church services or whatever. And you see them and they're just going through the motions of doing it. And some of them are smoking outside, some of them are wearing mini skirts and things like that, sitting out the front. It becomes more of a social kind of gathering, right? And that really got to me. And I was like, and these are the people, by the way, that are like, come to my team. Oh, you Protestants are wrong. You Muslims are wrong. So all you people are wrong and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, but do you even believe in God? Yeah. It's just crazy. So then when I came through this experience where I started reading the writings of Thomas Aquinas, I found God because I actually, from an intellectual perspective, started believing in the real existence of God. I thought it was actually, in my mind, it became stupid not to believe in God because 100%. Of the evidences that supported it, right? And then I was like, man, you see these people like yourself. You went through what you went through in your life. And you've found Christ now, putting aside the fact that you were baptized before and you were baptized, of course, but putting aside that you were baptized, you weren't living a life close to Christ.
Bro, I was a sinner.
And you've now found Christ, which is a great thing. So I think it's a shitty culture, to be honest, that people just come.
It's a shame. It is a shame, man. But I mean, what can we do? It's the tribal thing that we have, and that's It's a problem we have in Australia. It's a problem we have within business. It's a problem we have within community. It is what it is. But I feel as though if Christianity could stand together, it would be far stronger than.
Be the biggest thing in the world. The biggest thing in the world.
But we don't.
Yeah,
we don't, man, and it's a real shame.
Yeah.
It's a real shame.
Look, I want to say this as well, just to address the Catholics, because I know I get a big Catholic kind of following. I'm not putting aside the fact that what I believe the Catholic Church to be the Church of Jesus Christ. That's my opinion.
Yep.
Okay. In saying that, however, isn't it better that we have members who are joining Christ in other avenues and in their own way and coming to Christ and ultimately finding peace in their heart than having people based on what you experienced, which is on drugs, not believing in God, giving up on life, killing themselves, all of these different things. Like, I just want to address these Catholics out there who just think that, if you just join the Catholic Church, which I believe to be true, that you're ultimately saved. It's like you've got people who have the sincerity of heart, who have found Christ, who will go through a journey in their life. I just wanted to say that because there's nothing more distasteful than that. Yeah.
It's funny, man. I want to add into that. So
and Orthodox, by the way. So
my yaya on mum's side, devout Catholic, went to church every Sunday, so on and so forth, until she's too old now. But what was interesting to me as I grew up and went with her here and there is that first tattoo, people look at you funny. You wear laddish clothes, people look at you funny. You got a mullet, people look at you funny. So I feel as though the older generation have a lot to blame. Now, when we look at more the ethnic Catholics within Australia, so your Lebanese, your Armenians, your Assyrians, whatever, right? When we look at them, they're not as judgmental. They've always had beards, tattoos, gold chains, all good, right? But it's more so the Anglo side of Catholics can be very, very judgmental. And that turns people off from going to church.
Interesting.
Right? And 100% it does. Now, the beauty of my church, as an example, bro, I got one of my mates there, he's got face tats, head's tattooed, growing his hair back now because he just felt like it, covered in tattoos head to toe. But the most beautiful, humble man you'll ever meet. Yes. Now imagine him walking in to a Catholic church on the North Shore of Sydney. People are like, oh, what's he doing here? You know what I mean? Yeah. And that is an issue. And my fiance, excuse me, she does Bible studies herself. And she did one the other day and she's like, you know what's beautiful? Like people, and we've seen this ourselves, people get judged for going to church on how they dress, what they look like, what they've done, who they are, blah, blah, blah. But it's not our job to judge these people for coming to Christ for help. It's our job to help these people to come back to Christ with us. Yes. Doesn't matter what they look like. Doesn't matter if, like an example I think my wife gave was like a lady of the night, an escort or whatever. Like, bro, who cares? Yeah. If she wants to come back to Christ and get right with her life, absolutely help. And why judge? Why judge for? What do you achieve by doing that? In fact, you then become the problem within Christianity if you are judging an individual for coming back to God.
Absolutely, yeah.
And like
contradictory to the faith.
Precisely, right? And what I realize is that God had never turned his back on me. I'd turned my back on him. So all those years of me doing the wrong thing, I just turned around and said, I'm not looking. I don't want to know about it, right? But then I came back and I was like, he'll accept me anyway. Give it to God. Yep. Best thing I've ever done, man.
What does God mean to you in your life?
It's funny. My mother-in-law asked me this the other day. She goes, do you stress now that you believe in God more? Because like I've always believed in a higher power, I'll say. But I've never called it God, Jesus, Christ, whatever. Man, my life's changed. Like I've always had a high threshold for stress and whatever, but now I literally give everything to God.
And what does that look like?
It's funny. Like it doesn't really look like anything as such. Like if I've got a stress, I think to myself, I'm just going to pass it on. Like I can't let it consume me.
Yeah, sure.
I'll pass it on to God. In terms of my relationship with God, so we go to a church most Sundays when we're at home. I'll read the Bible every morning. I'll pray, all of this sort of stuff. But when people ask me, they're like, do you align with Catholic, Orthodox? I say none. And they're like, you can't do that. Mate, in my opinion, and this might offend some of your listeners, in my opinion, your relationship should be with God. It doesn't have to be with a church because I believe, like in the Bible, someone's going to pull me up. I forget exactly the words and I forget where it is. But he makes very clear that places of worship are actually about your connection with God, not the connection with the place of worship.
Sure.
God is always with us. Your church isn't always with you. Your community is, for sure.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I take that to a different level personally because people are like, oh, you might go to this church or you go to this church or you get invited here. We're all praising God.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I think what I'll say on the Catholic perspective is you're absolutely right, but then there's an additional element which I understand Protestants disagree with, whereby Christ established a church.
Yes.
Right? So he says, you are Peter, you are Peter, and on this rock I build my church. People say, oh, he didn't use the word church, he used the word community. Whatever it may be, he's instituted something there, and that's intended us to be together in unison, which I think is what you're advocating for anyway. When you say, imagine Christians coming together,
100%,
and working together, right? And it would be the most powerful thing in the world. You're right. You see the Muslims coming together in numbers.
Right.
The Jews come together. They're very successful people. You look at how successful.
You know what? Jews are probably even a better example.
Yeah.
Because, especially the Jews that I see or know of in Australia, bro, you throw anything at them, they'll stick together like a rock.
Yes, they will.
Through thick and thin, bro.
Not Christians, man. It's weird.
It's funny. It's very actually interesting. Like I regret not using that before. The Jews and Muslims stand together, very strong.
Yes.
Christianity, bro.
Yeah.
We're like a shard of glass. Boom, flick it, gone. Everyone separates, you know? And it's sad because, like you're saying, if we stood together, Very, very strong.
Absolutely. I just want to get a little deeper with the faith, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
I just want to understand, because a lot of people say, I believe in God and I give everything to God, but I just want to understand where you are, right? Do you literally believe that Jesus Christ is God, the Son of God, died and died on a cross and rose from the dead and is now living? So is this a historical fact that you believe in? And when you die, will you be returning to Christ, essentially?
Yes.
Great.
Yeah, 100%. And you know what? It's funny. I used to be very much of the thought process of can't be true, blah, 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 blah. But then you actually look at all of the historical texts. There's a great video that I've seen on it. It's gone viral multiple times. And it connects all the books with different historical texts. And blah,
I've
blah,
seen
blah.
that, yeah.
Amazing, right? When I started digging into that, I'm like, how can't you believe it?
Yep.
How can't you?
Yeah.
Jesus
Christ is the most documented man in history.
Exactly.
By the way,
we
don't think twice when we think of people who's an example. I don't know, Plato and Aristotle and Alexander the Great and all that. You don't think
Genghis
twice.
Khan,
Genghis Khan. They're way less documented than Jesus Christ. So it's hilarious that people doubt the existence of Christ.
It's how we've been wired or it's how they're trying to hardwire the world now.
Yeah.
Or parts of the world.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Where else for Chocky? Where are we? We haven't really spoken about Chocky very much. Well, we actually have. We've delved deeply into Chris. Talk to me about Chocky. Where do you intend to see? What are you planning on doing with all of this?
Mate, great question. To be honest, I always say I have no idea because I have no idea. It could go any way at any time. Yeah. I might get sick of it tomorrow and quit. Who knows? And that's the thing now, right? I think I like me. I've always liked me. My platform is me.
Yeah.
I don't pretend to be someone I'm not.
Yeah.
So really, I'm just going to continue being me, and wherever it takes me, I'll go. You know, will you see a podcast out of me? Not in the near future. Will I do some crazy stuff? I don't know. One thing I have actually accepted to do for the listeners, if they haven't seen, I'm actually walking the Kokoda Trail next year. I got invited by a foundation called Pillars for Pilgrims.
I actually saw that.
So they're a veteran-run foundation for veterans to help them sort of get back into the normal way of life, because a problem that many veterans have and face, especially those that were kicking doors down, is that getting back into civilian life is not easy. So I got invited to do that, and I am super excited. It'll be amazing. It's super daunting, 100-kilometer trek up and down hills in Papua New Guinea. But that'll be really cool, man. And I think I'd like to do a lot more work giving back to people in ways like that, like helping foundations and so on and so forth.
That's great.
But I mean, in terms of other plans, I just go with the flow, man. I see where the world takes me.
Think you'd ever get into politics?
No way.
Never?
No way.
Why not?
You got far more, what's the word?
Capable.
Far more capable, far more influence, far more influence outside of politics than in. Because imagine if I joined One Nation, Liberals, never joined the Labor, but any of them. Straight away what I do is I pigeonhole myself into that hole, saying that I work for the system and I believe the system works. Half of my followers just gone. Because we all believe that the system is broken.
Yes.
Doesn't matter what wing of the bird you're on, tail, feather, left or right.
What about as an independent, basically, like the Chocky Party?
The problem is, right, again, you still have to partake within the system. You still have to work to their rules, regulations, and to be an independent, you need cash, a lot of cash. Now, that's not to say that we couldn't crowdfund it, but I believe that the system is broken. We need to shake the system by the people changing and then influencing the system. Now, I always hate the saying one man can't change the world, but I believe strongly one man can't change politics, especially in this country.
So like you've seen it in the US with Trump, right? Some would argue nothing's changed anyway. At the very least, this guy is a populist.
Yep.
He's shaken things up at least by way of like the rhetoric. Like you'd never think that a politician would speak in the way that he's speaking, right? Like just the language, the threats, the way that he conducts himself. Clearly there's something there that's changed, right? And there's this one guy who's come in and he's basically changed America at the least, right? The US at the least. Do you think that Australia could ever have a Trump?
Multifaceted issue.
Like, why is the system so broken here where America could have that, but we couldn't?
You look at their voting system, you look at the way that they think,
Yep.
you look at where he inserted himself, you look at who's behind him, you look how much money he has.
Yeah.
So to replicate a Trump in Australia is very difficult.
What about a Gina Reinhardt via
Brother,
Pauline Hanson?
no way. No way.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like, to replicate exactly what they had there, odds would be second to none, slim to none,
Okay.
you know?
Yeah.
But in saying that, our problem is, so in America, right, they are very, you're either this or that.
Yeah. Very
Here,
partisan.
we have far too much in between.
Yep.
Far too much ping pong happening there where people are like, oh, well, here.
Yeah. Bit of
Not
everything.
enough people want Australia to go back to where we were. We want it, but they're not willing to put the work in, I should say.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. And unfortunately, when it comes to getting into Australian politics, you need bulk cash, you need bulk influence. Both of those things cost. You've got to, at some cost, right? But you've also got to win the people over. And my following, a lot of them would believe this system is broken.
Yes.
So how are you going to win the people over when we already think it's a broken system? That's why, in my personal belief, there is far more influence on the outside. So outer influence creating inside change.
Yeah, sure.
What it looks like, I've got no idea. Is it possible? Who knows? At this rate, trajectory's on the wrong angle.
Yeah, sure.
Which is a shame, man.
Yeah,
It's a lovely
it is.
country. It's a beautiful country.
It is a beautiful country, and it's a shame that we've gotten this far, right?
Yep.
Like, as in, I remember when I was a kid. You're right. There was at least that level of pride in being Australian,
So much.
right? And it's so far gone now. It's scary because it's like, you're right. It's like, well, where do you go from here? Where do you even start?
Man, I remember Australia days when I was a teenager. There would be white, Indigenous, me, all of us. But you know what? We're all wearing the Australian flag.
Yeah,
All of us.
absolutely. Yeah.
Southern Cross stick on tattoos, all playing cricket at the beach, drunk, whatever. But we all celebrated together. Now you have a massive rift in society where it's like, change the date. We hate Australia. Abolish Australia.
It's crazy that most of these people are like white Australians, right?
Oh,
Like,
it's wild. I pointed
what-
that out the other day, yeah.
What makes you and I, children of immigrants, essentially, children of immigrants who are more nationalistic and more proud to be Australian than some of these white Australians?
Because we know what we have here. We value what we have here.
that's a good
they
answer.
don't know anything else. I mean, look, that's not saying that some of these people haven't travelled, but I feel as though, like, I look at Colombia, right? Obviously, I don't know my biological family. I knew very little about Colombia, but being born in 96 in Colombia, bro, where I was born, third world country.
Yes.
So I know for a fact I came from a third world country to, at the time, probably one of the best countries to come to.
Yeah.
I'm
So
lucky.
you know how lucky you
Well,
are.
I say all the time, I used to say born lucky, but now I say born blessed, right?
Yeah.
I was. And then when I used to speak to my papa, he'd tell me about Cyprus and Greece and what it was like. And then he came here and he slugged it out. But he said, it gave me this. These people, man, that have been here for generations and they've got all this and they've done it all. They've lived here for ages. And there's a level of suicidal empathy. They've been brainwashed via the schools, the universities, whatever it is, to hate what we have. They have to feel bad because Australia was colonised. It was years ago.
Yeah.
Hundreds, That's not taking anything away from the stolen generation. That's not taking anything away from the generational trauma that Indigenous have experienced. But it's saying, and it's like my mate says who's Indigenous, your average white person walking down the street doesn't need to feel sorry for that. They didn't do it.
Yeah.
But here we are.
Yep. Absolutely. I want to finish off with a little game. You don't have to play it if you don't want to, but it's just a little rapid fire game.
Yeah, go.
Right? I'm just going to name a couple of individuals, and I just want you to just.
Oh, here we go. I'm getting cancelled.
The first word or couple words that comes to your mind, just out of interest.
Yep.
I haven't even prepared any of these names. I'm just going to do it on the fly. But since we've been speaking about it, Pauline Hanson.
Ooh. Approach with caution.
Yeah, that's a good one. Anthony Albanese.
Weak leader.
Angus Taylor.
Trying to gain popularity.
Andrew Hastie.
No comment.
All right, let's go. Donald Trump.
Approach with caution.
Yep. Oh, Alex Antic.
Based.
Yeah. That guy needs a bit more time on air, man.
Yeah.
Last one, Pope Leo.
G.
Oh, really? All right, that's good.
Mate,
awesome.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say to my currently very short, small kind of following, but please God, we continue to grow. Hopefully with your help, which I appreciate more than anything.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
We'll grow. But anything that you want to let my following know?
I think one thing that I'll say to anyone that made it this far is if you are currently unhappy with the state of this country, if you want things to change, use the voice that God gave you to speak. Now, you don't have to get on social media like we have, but you have a voice. You're entitled to your opinions. So speak them, and say it with pride, because everyone else, we seem to be in a time where everyone else is A-okay to say what they believe to be true. So why can't you? That's it.
So beautifully said. Well done, man. And actually, one last thing. This will be a tradition for this podcast. My guest will have the final recommendation, I suppose, for who our next guest should be.
Oh.
So it doesn't mean I can get them on. Like, look, it was a fluke that I could get Big Chocky on. Let me just tell you that. And please God, we can continue, this really good kind of podcasting content. This will be a tradition. Who do you think I should have on next?
Oh, man. I could churn out some names.
Yeah.
I think...
Give me the top one.
Nah, that's difficult, bro.
All right, give me two at least, and we'll see what we can do to organise it.
Oh, you put me on the spot here. I think it would be cool for someone from your community who's a big voice, but to come and say their story. That would be really cool.
Okay.
You'd know those people better than I,
Sure.
but I think that would be really awesome to align your audience with theirs. And then even if there are disagreements, you can hash them out.
Yeah.
Depends if you want to go political or if you want to go...
What would you like to see? Let me ask you, are you gonna continue to follow this podcast?
Yeah, bro.
You are?
I've been on it.
Legend.
I have to. Rude not to now.
Thank you.
I think there's a few. I think, you know what? I'm going to give either Sammy Bamford, Two Worlds Collide.
Yep.
I'm going to give you a couple of names. Callista Cutt, Callista Clements.
Okay.
If you could get Spaniard on, you've done something hectic.
Well, we're in his area, by the way.
You've done something hectic if you've done it.
So.
I reckon those three.
Those three.
That'd be mad.
Okay. All right. We'll see what we can make happen.
Actually, you know what? I've got one for you.
Yeah.
His name's Dean Burgess, former 2 Commando. Finding his faith again. More orthodox. Actually orthodox, I'll say. But for a hardened man who's gone to war to find Christ again is amazing.
I'd love to speak to him.
So I think that would be an amazing story.
I was in the reserves. We didn't talk about that.
Yep.
And I was actually across from 2 Commando, but I was not in 2. I was in infantry. But
I was not 2 Commando.
I was not 2 Commando.
No,
Near 2
and
Commando.
I think, you know what? I think for your audience to see someone like that who's come back to Christ would be amazing. Scrap the other names, man.
Yeah.
Start with people like that. People that the audience don't know.
Yep.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, I'd love to do that. I'd love to. Oh man, so it seems that we've got a lot in common already.
Yeah.
So the faith, fighting for this nation. I didn't fight for this nation. I was in the army. I never went overseas or anything. But I'd love to speak to him. So, are you mates with him? Are you?
Yeah.
Well, maybe you can make it happen. We'll
I'll make it happen.
Off camera. Awesome. Chocky, thank you so much.
Thank you for having
thank
me.
you.
I appreciate
more.
it.
Hopefully you can come back again as
100%.
well. Yeah.
I'll be back.
Awesome.
Legend, bros.
Thank you, brother.